hundreds of thousands of people.
You know, just like that story.
Get your good word out.
Just like that story you shared a couple of weeks ago with the guy who gave part of his liver. That
We
didn't know,
to a stranger.
To save a life.
I know. I'm very.
It doesn't take, it doesn't take much. Just like Hallie's Heroes, it doesn't take much to swab, and you swab
I
to
swab.
find a donor.
Everyone should swab.
You could be.
DKMS.org.
Yeah, no, that's fine. you could be walking around as an actual lifesaver. You can make a difference and change the life of change somebody's world by saving their child, by saving their husband, their son, their daughter.
Exactly.
Just by giving a little bit.
Exactly. Okay, next. A survivor of childhood abuse decided to run 3,000 miles to raise funds for other victims.
That's a lot of miles.
Yeah.
I take the car.
Exactly. Well, no, that is not the point. Sports have become a release for childhood sex abuse survivor Christian Griffith. And this is another thing that struck me is it's a male sex abuse survivor who's doing this. Because I don't feel like we hear enough about men who go through something like this. It seems to be female.
Working in sex trafficking field sometimes.
That sounds.
I know that sounded really bad.
He fights against it for all purposes.
Fights against it, but you'd be real surprised on how many male victims there are out there.
But I feel like we don't hear that in public.
You don't, because a lot of male victims are because they're so scared to come out about it. Shame. Yeah. And I don't want to say it's easier for a female. It's just that a male, it's so much harder. Maybe we can touch on that with Tanya. Maybe she knows a little bit about that with the kids that she deals with, how hard it is for a man to come out about being sexually abused.
I'm sure. So Griffith is running 3,000 miles across the country beginning Monday, and this was posted 21 hours ago. So literally next Monday, y'all. You guys, we need to pay attention to him. As a part of Run to Heal campaign in hopes of raising $1 million for victims of childhood sexual abuse, which is such a giant goal to reach. I hope he gets it. In partnership with Help for Children, a global nonprofit charity, he'll run 30 miles a day. I complain about the 2 miles I make myself run in the morning. 30 miles. Anyway,
that's more than a marathon a day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then someone is driving along next to him in an RV, so he's sleeping in the RV at night and running during the day. He's already mapped it out. He's going to begin in New York City, Riverside Park.
He's in New York City in Riverside Park. He may not make it 30 miles.
During a public 5K race, and then he will eventually touch every state, concluding his run in San Francisco. He'll sleep in an RV between the runs. Despite the grueling feat, Griffith believes it's all worth it. He wants others to get the treatment that he has been afforded and hopes to raise money. Will also work towards prevention. He said he was in therapy for the last couple of years, and it really made a huge difference. So he wants to be able to provide that for people who may not have insurance that could do it for them. So I thought that was pretty fantastic, because Lord knows I don't want to be running 30 miles a day. Good job. And that is my good news for the day.
That is your good news for the day. Well, that was great good news.
And now we have amazing people in our studio.
You know what I liked about your good news today?
It was short.
Well, not that it was just short. It was here in America.
You penis.
We weren't talking about some flat in France with the fire brigade.
There's other nations besides America that listen to us. We are an international show. I'm just trying to include everyone. France and England and Canada. I love you people. And Australia. First of all, y'all have amazing accents that are so much better than boring America or New York accents. I'm not saying anyone on this show has that.
You'll come up missing. You will come up missing.
Okay, bring it. Okay, sorry. We actually have to get on with the show for the love of Christ.
Yeah, well, listen, we have in our studio, we have licensed social worker LaTanya Davidson and comedian Jamie Gravy. And we're going to hear from them about suicide, prevention, signs and symptoms throughout the first responder, military, and the entertainment field right after this. So stay tuned, because we'll be back in a minute. There's an amazing life-saving product on the market called LifeVac. With over 5,000 people a year who die from choking, LifeVac gives you a second option if the Heimlich maneuver is not effective. LifeVac is designed with a one-way valve. Prevents all air outside the mask and not into the victim, providing you 3 times more suction than abdominal thrust. LifeVac is now being used by our first responders in schools, nursing homes, and disability facilities around the country. LifeVac has been credited with saving 10 lives so far when standard choking protocols have failed. LifeVac can be used by anyone, and it's simple to use. Just place, push, and pull.
Never be left without a second option. Get your life back today. For more information, visit lifeback.net. Lifeback, the device you hope you never have to use. Be sure to enter discount code MADRADIO for a special offer.
Posado's Cafe, the place in the Metroplex for Mexican cuisine, conveniently located at 1601 Airport Freeway in Bedford. Posado's Cafe has served its customers proudly for over 29 years, with the finest food, authentic dining, and 5-star service. Posado's Cafe offers it all. Feel like steak or seafood, or just fiesta nachos and queso? Posado's Cafe will serve your every need. So visit Posado's for a dine-in or cater-out meal. While you're there, pick up a Posado's gift card and let others enjoy the same experience. Posado's Cafe in Bedford. Make it your next meal. Posado's, proud sponsor of the Mad Radio Making a Difference Kid of the Month.
2 California deputies killed by an arson suspect with a high-powered rifle. 10 law enforcement officers in the state of Florida lose their life in the line of duty in less than 6 months. Help those that put their lives on the line by logging on to bluealert.us and find out how you can help those who help us each day. That's bluealert.us.
Tired of the same old barbecue taste from fast food chains? Why not try Gizmo's Texas Barbecue? It's tender with a deep smoke flavor. Gizmo's has the meat you want. The ribs are bone-licking perfection. The brisket is oh so meaty. And the rest of the meat specialties are bad to the bone. I give it 2 paws up. So next time you plan on throwing a party, let Gizmo smoke your meat. You won't regret it. 10% off your first order. Can't beat that. You can find them on Facebook at www.facebook.com/GizmosBBQ or on Twitter at Gizmos Texas BBQ or call today at 817-372-2306. Order your smoked meat today. It's bad to the bone.
For the past 30 years, Lombardo Custom Apparel has been making politicians, CEOs, entertainers, and Super Bowl champions look their very best under the Lombardo Custom Apparel antennae and expertise. Their client's image is their business. They provide the wardrobe that will make you the best dressed person in whatever room you walk into. Now Lombardo's is offering the Dak Prescott collection. Dak and Lombardo Custom Apparel have partnered up to create a tie and accessory line based on his signature bow tie style. Each week of the season, Dak will wear a different signature bow tie that will be featured on the Lombardo website for purchase. Remember, you don't have to be a champion to look like one. Let Lombardo Custom Apparel make sure you are always the best dressed to complement your lifestyle. Located at 17604 North Dallas Parkway in Dallas, or visit them on their web at lombardocustomapparel.com.
Well, welcome back to Mad Radio. We are in the studio with licensed social worker Latanya Davis and comedian Jamie Gravy. How are you guys doing today?
Hi.
Good. Get
Get
a little
close.
closer to that mic.
Get close, Jamie.
You've had things. Oh,
Lord.
Hey.
I do want to say the reason that we're actually focusing on suicide prevention is because I think about a month ago, or maybe a little bit longer at this point, one of our local comedians committed suicide, Joshua Fisher, and it made us want to kind of address it, and that's why we have Jamie on. He was really good friends with Joshua and Latanya as well. We all knew Josh, and Latanya actually has some medical.
Kind of clinical insight.
Yeah.
On
She's a little bit more qualified than we are to discuss it, for sure. Yeah. But we wanted Jamie on to give kind of a perspective of being someone who knew him pretty well and worked with him a lot.
Yeah. I mean, thank both of you guys for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
Now, suicide, you notice it was always air traffic controllers, have the highest suicide rate. Dentists have the highest suicide rate.
I didn't know this.
Yeah, because of such stressful jobs. But it seems like it took a turn over the last few years where we're getting a lot of first responders, a lot of police officers, a lot of military personnel, a lot of vets. 16 vets per day are committing suicide, and a lot more in the entertainment field. So is it the stress of these jobs? Is it the power that they have to perform to their utmost, like a higher standard than everybody else? LT, I'll direct you that question.
Something that, and I'm going to tell you, this was difficult in doing the research for this because each group that you presented that you wanted to talk about has different reasons.
Yeah.
Right? I'm looking for stress. I'm like, okay, what is the thing that glues it all together? Each group has a different reason for it, but stress would be number one for first responders.
And accessibility to, I mean, I know with with first responders and the military, they have access to firearms. So the easy way out sometimes is that they don't have a chance to think. And it's almost like an impulsive thing, you know. In the entertainment field, you see it over time, like Robin Williams. He was battling depression for the longest time, and Freddie Prinze, and going back.
I heard and I thought that Robin Williams actually chose to because he had a permanent kind of a diagnosis that was a disease that was going to be progressively worse and worse and worse, and he wanted to
that's possible.
end it before it got too bad.
But he was still battling.
Of course,
he was still battling
and alcoholism.
Yeah. And in the military, we just keep seeing this, and we want to try to prevent it. And Jamie, you're here because Josh did a lot of comedy work with you, and up to the days where you found out that he passed, that this happened. What was his demeanor? What do you feel his demeanor was when you spoke with him in those last few days?
So I think that's what was so frustrating about Josh's situation, because Josh, to me, he maintained really a lot of the same demeanor. However, Josh would always kind of make certain jokes about it.
About suicide?
Yeah, a lot, but in a very typical Josh fashion, which, after several months to several years of hearing that, you kind of blow it off. It's a little harder to know. And, I know now he reached, he would talk to his wife about it a lot. God bless, her. And it was very interesting seeing, of course, I know a lot, again, with Josh, he had a big, he struggled with substance abuse, as well, whether it be whatever, and alcohol and all that kind of stuff. And I remember towards the end there seeing that kind of increase, which worried me, like it would worry me with any friend. But I just, for some reason, I didn't think that part for him was something that could have become a reality, like such a suicide like that. That shocked. It really shocked me.
He reminded me when I met him of a sad clown. But I think a lot of people only saw the clown part of it because he was so overly hyper and happy and energetic, when he was around.
Well, see, that brings up a great point. As comics, a lot of our stuff comes from childhood traumas. A lot of our comedic ability comes from that, and it's so well masked. So what we perceive as maybe he's using it as a defense mechanism or he's bringing it into a joke are actually signs that he is battling with. Now, I know Josh lost a very, very good friend over the summer, probably about 6 months ago. I don't know the exact date. One of his best friends that he grew up with just suicided, and he was very hurt with that. So these things can topple onto each other, and it just builds up. But because of the industry that we are in, we don't see it as much. Is there?
Well, Jamie and I were talking outside, and we were saying how isolated you can feel when you're trying to do things in the entertainment industry because you're already doing something that most people are not doing. So by virtue of that, it's isolating. But I don't know about you guys, but doing comedy, I learn more about myself.
Yeah.
What if I don't like what I'm learning?
Yeah. So in your routine, do you bring up some of the darkness, the dark side?
I'm self-deprecating.
Yeah.
I am.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of comedians are.
I think it's we're almost even trained to do that to relate to the audience and the audience like us because we're already doing something that might be egotistical if you come off a certain way, and if you want the audience to like you and enjoy you and laugh with you, you have to be relatable. And self-deprecation is the first one.
Right.
Yeah. We suck together.
Right, but that also is a shield, and it can go either way. Jamie, I mean.
Yeah, I think that's true, and I think you're right. I think it makes you more trustworthy as an entertainer to be vulnerable with those kinds of things. So I think as a comedian, seeing other comedians be like that, it's easy almost to dismiss those as warning signs.
Along with the increased alcohol rate or the increased drug rate that we do see so much in the clubs because it's like I'm going to go up on stage. I'm just going to have this drink to relax, to let loose. So,
Oh yeah, I don't know how many people
right. They
that
need
don't drink that do comedy. It's
Right.
rare. That's the rare thing.
That is rare. That is rare.
Trying to get into that place of knocking down the walls,
Yeah.
right, of vulnerability.
It kind of lowers your
Inhibitions.
Right.
A little more loose, a little more free, all that kind of good stuff. And it was so weird too, because I remember like seeing Josh towards the end there. He just was so much. He was very comfortable even from the get go on stage. Like, you know what I mean? He just was very silly, like a big kid.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Towards the end there, though, he just seemed even more comfortable. Like he was like really like, I don't know. That's what one of the hard things for me to wrap my mind around. It's like, Josh was so transparent on stage.
Oh yeah,
and I
that's
think that's
true.
what a hard part that maybe I feel like Josh had with comedies, because people in comedy tell you be yourself, just be vulnerable, be open, be honest, and it's like Josh was already those things. So you're probably like, well, maybe it was confusing for him, and especially after several months to a couple of years into it, it's just weird and interesting to think like what was the final catalyst. So maybe it was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and all these factors adding up, XYZ equal this, because it's like, had it been a different day or a slightly different setting, maybe it'd still be here.
Yeah.
Are you buying into that? I mean, because what you just brought up, right? Are you buying into if he did not leave his secure spot of Dallas, do you think he felt that he got maybe a different type of, he expected different being in Buffalo? Maybe the welcome wasn't.
I think so.
Maybe he expected to have the same stuff that he was getting here in Dallas to be in Buffalo.
I think so. I really think that it was just like, had this been different or this had happened, I think it would be here. I think it was a bad scenario, a bad circumstance plus a bad decision on Josh's part led to something tragic. You know what I mean? Because I really believe like if he just went to bed and then woke up again, I just, you know what I mean? Like just those, sometimes it's like, sometimes you just really feel like all is lost. And I think that's the hard part. I think that's where it comes to our responsibility as friends, family, to see those moments and recognize when it's time for us to step in, lend an ear.
Speaking of which, we had a previous friend of Josh's on, and he was talking about how Josh had actually given away one of his prized possessions, his hat that had been signed by Jim Jeffries.
Oh wow!
Before he went to Buffalo.
Right.
So perhaps it wasn't just what happened at Buffalo.
But see, but what, like Jamie, what you're saying is all great, but how do we know?
Exactly.
How do we know?
Enter the time.
So that's the thing.
That's all you, LT.
Right. Oh my God, I feel pressure.
Fix it now.
Yeah.
The best thing I could do, I went to American Association of Suicidology, Myths versus Facts. I think let's get some clarity from it.
I like that.
That the majority of people who kill themselves do so from the perspective that it will ease the burden on loved ones or even the self, right? Not primarily of anger, aggression, or revenge, things like that. That suicides happen without warning. That's the myth. The fact is that suicidal ideation is often announced indirectly to at least one person. So it's stated. Another myth is that suicide is an overreaction to life events. What's going on in Josh's mind, let's use Josh, what he perceived to be burdensome and heavy and weighty, and maybe he was tired. Maybe he had been dealing with what we suspect is mental illness for a long time. Mm-hmm. For him, it might have been peace, right? I mean, there's so many different variables and factors that go into this. But I think for us, a big part of it is he did it. He was alone, right? He seemed to be alone. I think, and that's one of the theories, one of the sociological theories of a type of suicide is feeling isolated from the rest of society. With him, when I look at him, that's what I think about, because he seemed to be like, people will say, if I just loved him more, if I just called him more, if I just said one more nice thing to him.
If I would have answered the phone.
If I would have answered the phone, but who knew what was going on in his universe?
Right. Those things that you can what if all about probably would have never changed the outcome. May have, I don't want to say
not.
May not have changed the outcome, depending on how far gone he was.
And that doesn't mean, because another myth is that if I don't say something, or if I say something, it may provoke the person to do it, but that's not necessarily the case. There are many people who you can intervene and stop that suicide just by speaking up. But a person like him, who knows if it was just a matter of ending the pain and removing himself from his family's life. Maybe he felt he was causing suffering.
Yeah.
Well, when you talk about Josh here in Dallas, every time I saw Josh, okay, he was happy, big smile on his face, always willing to help, always upbeat, never really, when he got on stage, never really cared about what anybody thought, if he was good, if he was bad, if he bombed, if he killed, okay? And he always kind of helped out other comics. He was always there. Now, when you say isolation, you think going to Buffalo, where he may have not received that warm welcome, he felt isolated enough to do this.
It's quite possible.
You
Or
know?
even, or what, something I've thought about with him too, and Jamie, like the way that he was overly, it would help other people. Like, do you feel like that was him avoiding his own self-deprecation? Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, it could have. Maybe he was giving things that he wasn't getting that he wished he was. And because there's entertainment. It's kind of a cutthroat business, and that's something I discovered pretty early on. Is that there's a lot of people in the industry that are kind of unsavory, and can't aren't as welcoming and warm as Josh. Josh was a very warm, encouraging individual, and so someone like that, who obviously maybe is pretty sensitive deep down. I'm a sensitive guy. We talked about this. You're sensitive.
I've seen you cry a couple of times.
We're all sensitive, right? Yeah, I'm a real weeper.
All in the feels.
You know what I mean? Like,
You hurt my feelings.
sometimes, yeah, that could.
Like, I drank with you and you didn't cry. Damn it.
Yeah.
Listen,
missed it.
I really don't want to make light of this, and I'm sorry, but that's my defense mechanism.
Hey,
Yeah.
that's all of our
That's
defense
my defense
mechanisms.
mechanism.
Yeah, that's what we
And,
do.
And no disrespect to anybody out there that we sound like we're laughing or joking about.
No.
This is a serious issue, and
I think Josh
we all
would.
have that.
Yeah, I think Josh would expect all of his comedian friends to, get through it through laughter. That's,
Right.
That's just
It's a
how
good
we all
balance.
deal with pain.
And it's really, it's legit. It's yin yang.
my
I say that all the time. Joy and pain, tragedy and comedy. Comedy it seems to be a human response to tragedy.
Yeah.
And I think that we should laugh as we talk. I don't think it should be something, I was worried about that. We're just like,
Yeah,
Let's
no,
be-
yeah,
this
no.
is fun part.
And not to switch topics, but John LaRocque in New York, with Laughter Saves Lives, brought that very point turned around, where instead of getting into the whole PTSD and depression on things that happen, let's bring laughter into it. Let's change that perspective. Let's make people happy.
Yeah. It's healing.
Yeah,
It really
it is. But LT, you got the 5 emotions. I forgot what they are. When someone dies, you get that the
Stages
anger,
of
the
grief.
stages of grief.
put me on the spot.
Put you on the spot. You didn't have
She
that.
didn't-
You didn't Google that?
Research. No, she's talking about suicide.
Well, it was cool too, because they had for Josh, for his comedy family and friends here, the celebration of life
Yeah.
for
Mhm.
Josh,
Yeah.
and that was the first time I'd ever been to anything like that, and I didn't know what to expect. I don't like funerals.
Oh, me either.
They make me very uncomfortable. I've skipped funerals that I probably should have gone to in the past that I regret, but I feel weird about in death in general. So I was the Josh one. Obviously his passing, it hurt, so I wasn't looking forward to that one either, especially around a bunch of comedians. I didn't know what to expect. It was beautiful. It was
Aw.
absolutely beautiful, and I feel like it honored Josh the best way that it could have. Like, knowing Josh, I saw him there and everybody's faces, like, having fun,
Right.
and it was really cool because I just never seen something reflect somebody so much, so truly. And especially in something like that, a memorial service in a way. But it was so fun. We were all laughing and sharing stories about Josh, and I could have just seen Josh and like, yeah, y'all better be
Looking
laughing,
down,
you know
looking
what I
down,
Yeah,
going
exactly,
right.
exactly.
Just knowing how he was.
But now to bring the dark side on that a little bit, how about people that turn around and say, "Well, suicide is selfish"?
Oh, I got one for that.
You know?
One. I do. I made sure that I brought up a lot of points as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, that's very common. I mean,
Oh
I
yeah,
hear that
a lot of people
Yeah,
feel that
well-
way.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to do. Try to bring some understanding.
Yes, because you have to be careful how you judge them, because in the sense of where it's said that a suicide seems to be selfish, again, a person who feels that they are a burden, in their mind, I'm not being selfish if I remove myself from the equation. I'm adding to your life. I'm not subtracting. I'm giving you joy and removing my pain. In that type of thinking. Does that make sense? So it's like we have to be careful. Like, God, you realize what you left behind. But that person in their mind may have thought to themselves, I'm giving you a gift of not having to deal with my illness or my pain and my sadness and all those things.
And we'll until you get to that point, you never know. Because that's true.
Exactly.
You could be at that point, go, I just want to relieve everybody else of my pain. I want to relieve,
Yes.
It doesn't, like, that's, to me, anyone who is judging a suicidal person hasn't ever really been to the brink of the precipice of suicide, hasn't really ever experienced what it's like and what the thought process is, because it is the least selfish thing in your brain. You think that you would be helping other people by just getting out of the way because you're a giant burden.
Yeah.
That's literally what suicide it feels like when you're experiencing those thoughts.
Yeah, and it's ending pain.
I
don't know.
Not all the time.
Not all the time.
You know what?
Yeah.
And
well, again, John, because remember there's there's infinite perspectives. One of the main theories of suicide. This came from my background, social psychology. Theory of suicide, Durkheim, old school but still relevant. He's came up with these theories that you have egoistic suicide, that's too weak integration. Those are when people don't have enough social bonds. They didn't think that their death would affect society, so they just removed themselves. And then there's also too much integration where the person, those are societies that are collective. So you may see this in China, you may see this in the Middle East, all the places where it's collective. And then he looked at that from the point when you live in a society like we do. You don't feel like you belong. You don't feel like you're a part of the fabric. You feel meaningless. You feel apathetic, melancholy, right? That's the person that's like, it doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah.
Right. Suicide rates are higher for people without children, people who are single. And then you have where there's social economic changes. Ask you guys this. Do you think that people commit suicide as much even when society is booming? So when there's an economic boom.
Oh, I bet not.
Well, I know a lot of stockbrokers have jumped from buildings when it collapsed.
It does the same. It does the same even when any social economic change.
Because it's such a personal thing.
Booming, because it leads to moral confusion and lack of social direction. So even during times of boom and prosperity, you would think it would decline, but when there's a change in social expectations of people, so like they said, somebody who wins the lottery.
Right.
Why? Because it's a major shift in your reality and you can't live up to the expectation. So there's another thing maybe we could look at for entertainment. So a person's in entertainment. What are you doing? You're famous. You know people. Like everybody knows your name. Right?
But
I can't live up to the expectation.
But see,
because I know
this is where I get that, but this is where it confuses me. You see a lot of comics committing suicide, right? You don't see a lot of A-listers that are in movies who have that same pressure to perform. You see more of the
once
comic,
the stars fallen,
the up and coming.
Well, not only the up and coming, but the more of the comic, the comedian aspect. Like I said, like you have a lot of Saturday Night Live cast members who have committed suicide. All comics.
Who?
They've all OD'd. They've all OD'd.
OD'd is not necessarily that they've.
Phil Hartman.
Well,
his wife killed him. His wife killed him.
No, well, OD is a sign of, listen.
And Jim Belushi OD'd.
John Belushi.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Jim is alive.
Let's just make up names.
No. I mean,
no, Jim's his brother. Yeah, Chris Farley. I don't think these were suicides. I think these were people who had addiction issues.
I do.
Yeah, I agree with Megan.
I agree on a certain point.
Jimmy's on my side.
Yeah, so.
No,
but okay, all right. So where's that line? You're an addict. Okay, you're an addict, and you're popping pills, you're doing meth, you're doing whatever they are. You know, you're shooting heroin. You know that there is a potential that you are going to kill you. You are going to die. So is it considered just an OD, or is it considered an accidental suicide?
Because an OD. I'm going to go with OD. Unless they've left a note like Kurt Cobain. Now that man killed himself, unfortunately.
Well, once again,
or Courtney left
let's,
it.
let's go to the clinical psychiatry of LT. What do you feel?
We're
like
saying
like an OD,
addiction.
like an
type of
addiction,
suicide?
like an addiction.
I think those are hard to call, y'all,
Thank you.
because a person can do an unintentional.
No, don't say thank you.
No.
She didn't say you were right.
Well,
No, she said there's Lord God.
Yeah, there's unintentional OD, right? There's unintentional OD.
Right.
Because isn't that what
exactly?
Was considered, I'm thinking of who was that was considered? Was it Jimi Hendrix? Who was that who choked? It was like
Jimi Hendrix choked.
Right. But
and Janis, yeah.
And think about it like this.
But the government killed him.
But when
Wink.
But when they're doing an investigation, remember they've got to consider that it's still speculation, right? If a person may have said, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna take all these Quaaludes, where the hell they take, and then they're
see
like,
what happens.
and or I just want to escape. Maybe I want to escape for a little bit, and then they
can't come back.
Choke, right? Or they don't come back from the brink. That's why it's so. It's
because
murky.
OD and suicide, the only difference right there is the note, right? If they don't leave a note. But how do you know somebody just doesn't turn around and say, hey, I'm going to shoot myself up and I'm going to hot shot with heroin and put myself over the edge?
Sure.
We don't know. We don't know we don't know what their mental thought was prior to what they were doing.
Right. Yeah, so but you can't call it suicide.
No,
you can't call Chris Farley a suicide. You can't.
No, you can't. No, I'm saying you can't call it a suicide. It's going to be classified as an OD, but it's still undetermined.
And and you got to remember, suicide can be very impulsive. It can be a moment. It can be.
Yeah, I feel like that was Josh.
I start drinking. I'm depressed. You know what? I'm out because alcohol's a depressant. Peace. Yeah, peace out. I'm done. And in that moment, then there's the one that's contemplated it. There's the person that decided that in the moment. I recall a young man at the church I went to when I was young. He got to a fight with his parents. Parents went to a party. He went and shot himself in the head. It was impulsive.
Impulsive.
Oh, that's the
because the gun was so available.
The gun was available.
That's so sad.
And I wanted to throw that to make sure you guys know, because this is why it's so important to lock up. 51% of suicides are firearms. Okay, 51%. The most common is suffocation, which includes hanging. That's at 25.89% and poisoning at 14.9%.
But that's a big jump from 50% to 20%.
That firearms being available, as you guys said, it allows for that. Can I give you 10th leading cause of death in the United States? 44,965 Americans die by suicide annually. For every suicide, 25 people will have attempted. There's an average of 123 per day. Men die by suicide 3.53 times more than women, right? White males, this is
it's broken down,
7 out of 10 suicides. Okay.
Yeah.
White males.
Highest among middle-aged white men.
We're sorry, guys.
Hey, you guys
are
call us.
Yeah.
It's gonna be okay. No, but seriously, you guys, and that goes back to the theory of Durkheim, is how integrated is a person into society? How much do they feel that they're meeting expectations and goals and things like that? Because we're like white men, you're like the most privileged, right? Like,
amen.
Why are you?
But
out?
I also think that like women, we have children at a certain age, and so do men. However, we are more attached to our children, I think, than men are. I mean, you can a man.
Oh, I agree with that 100%. I hate my kids.
And that's probably why
they do kind of get you there.
A man could conceive of killing themselves, because I have to say I battle depression, and I've been suicidal when I was much younger, but after having children, it literally just was turned off. The switch turned off. You can't do that.
Well, because now you're kind of living for somebody else.
Well,
I have people to take care of.
Right.
But if you didn't have postpartum, right?
And I had it. I had a little bit after my son, but that was the reason.
For you, it kept you going.
It kept me. Yeah, I was like, I can't go that far.
There's so many factors, y'all, and I'm thinking of like how, I work with so many people, so many different reasons. I'm thinking of people now that have come into the hospital setting, and they each have their individual reason, but we can look at the phenomenon and find the commonalities of what make a person come to that decision.
Yeah.
It's an option.
Yeah.
You know, it's a, what do we say? It's a permanent solution to temporary problems, right?
Do you see
Yeah.
do you see any way that prevention? Is there any prevention? Is there anything that we can do to slow it? I mean, I know we're never going to stop it.
Yeah.
But is there anything that we can do to find out what the warning signs are, or should we take that leap of faith and go like what someone's posted before was the bystander Genovese you know, thing.
You
Do we get involved?
you guys, what you're doing, like your show, this is it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Let's have a conversation.
First responders have like it's huge how many first responders, but what they found in research is the culture of not helping, the culture of not letting your people talk about feeling suicidal, right? From what you've seen.
Yeah. I've also seen access to firearms. Okay. And I've seen a lot of suicides in the law enforcement field where it started out. I mean, these weren't depressed officers. It started out as a domestic dispute, a little alcohol, and then boom,
Impulse.
You know, it wasn't that it was a depression or anything else.
That's
It was more,
heartbreaking.
yeah, and it is. And what's even heartbreaking more is sometimes that turns into a murder suicide because they get so enraged with their partner, and the gun is available. They shoot her or him. Sometimes, God forbid, the kids are involved, and then there's no
They
other
can't
way
live
out.
with themselves.
They can't live with themselves.
Crime of passion.
Yeah, and that happens. Same with the military. The military people coming back, those are more on a depression.
So
Those
for-
are more on a PTSD scale.
So perhaps what we need to do is have a whole, and this would, touch on school shootings and freaking bombings and everything else, is to have more access to
Yes.
mental health, any kind of like insurance wise, but also just.
But the problem with that is HIPAA laws. You can't have access to somebody's health records.
I'm not at no.
What are you
I'm not
talking
trying
about?
to access everyone. I don't need to
but,
to know who's suicidal. I just need everybody for us all to be able to have better access to, because I have to say, and I've worked for good companies and I have very good insurance. I only have a limited amount of times to go to a damn psychologist or
Oh, you're saying-
psychiatrist.
So
We need
access to resources.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Offer.
And
I don't give a shit who's
Right? No. No.
Yeah.
But you see how bad your medical insurance basically
and then
covers
on that.
Yeah, basically covers you getting sick, let alone
That's what I'm saying.
letting you and that's a whole nother issue that we should have access to that. That should be available.
And help get rid of the stigma.
Yes.
That's why I'm being very, very open and honest here to Facebook and to the people listening. Yeah, I have been suicidal, and I am a mom of 3.
Right.
Listen,
Yeah.
we've all been there.
I'm very open.
We've all been there.
In mine, I actually had an attempt at 19. I've talked about it. I tell, especially with patients that I work with, I'm very open and honest about it because you have to talk. You have to
Yes,
be
there's a
honest about
stigma.
it.
Yeah.
It is a really real thought that
Right.
hey,
Yeah.
I don't feel good. I don't know that I want to be here. How do I address this? And then I think people have to just not be afraid to, don't judge people. Stop the judgment and
Amen.
stop saying what you. Well, look at your life and
Right.
you have a
You should be
job and you have a
happy.
degree.
Right.
You have, it's not that
That's not
simple.
it.
Let's
Exactly.
talk about it.
But let's talk about military. Let's talk about military and first responders. With LT, you did 16 years in the Navy.
14.
14 years. Okay. If at any point during your naval period within those 14 years, you said, you know what, I'm just not feeling right, I'm going to go see a psychiatrist, what would have happened? Okay, enough said. You answered without answering. And
I hid it. I hid my appointments. Like
Right.
I
You
said
go-
that after I started. You don't.
You
say
don't do
what
it.
You're doing.
the police officers are the same way. They have to go if they're going to go for psychiatric help, they're gonna go under
They can't work.
Right. So they're gonna go under a
Yes.
false name.
Yes.
They're gonna pay their psychologists in
Yes.
cash because they
Yes.
don't want it to go
I have
back
a
on.
friend right now doing that.
And can
right
we
now.
and can we discuss the fact that if you aren't needing psychological help after having to deal with some of the things that policemen have to deal with, firemen have to deal with on a daily basis, you're not normal. You're seeing death and kind of sometimes the worst of humanity on a daily basis,
Right.
at least a weekly basis. Of course, it's going to affect you. If you have
Without it-
any sort of compassion, it's going
Right.
to affect you.
Yeah.
They should be able to go without the stigma.
They should. I
It's
agree.
ridiculous.
Now, police officers, I know with the military, you have to go for a medical every year.
Yes.
Correct, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Nothing touches on
Mental
psychology or mental health.
I think
Not in the
it's
police.
changed.
Not in
Yeah.
the police department. Anyway.
I think it like as I was leaving, it's changed quite a bit. They talk all the time about suicidal ideation and seeing the signs amongst your
Military
your
wise?
comrades. Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It turned the tide. And it's not something that X's you out. But
Right.
but if you do have, a lot of people don't know, you try to go into the military. If you have you've been taking psychotropic meds, you're probably not going to be able to get in. But
Right.
Yep.
but you have to be, because you have to be mentally strong. You have to have a fortitude to be able to do it. But that doesn't mean that you come out mentally, biochemically, physically changed.
Right.
You're
To
not
what
the
they
same
want.
human.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They made
yeah.
they
They
made
altered
you.
you on
Yes.
purpose.
Exactly.
Yes.
An alter is a great word. They altered you, just like just like the police department is a paramilitary organization.
Yes.
They alter your mind. They alter your training. That's why the Marines, the Navy, the Army, the Air Force are all different animals, because
For sure.
each service, each branch brainwashes.
Has a
kinda-
different, yeah.
has a
Has
different-
a different.
You know,
It's trauma based
it is.
conditioning. And
it's
I'm gonna let me see if I can make it collective of all the different industries that we're talking about. The more, either the further you get away from who you are, or the more you come into who you are, I think that's where a risk is. So for me, like when I think about entertainers, especially actors, right,
Mhm.
or comedians, why would there be higher rates or higher attempts? Because I think the person's becoming more in tune with who they are. And if you find yourself outside of society, the more you find out about yourself, the more different you feel, the
Mhm.
less grounded you are, the more likely you're going to take yourself out, right?
Yeah.
Or the further you get away from the truth of who you are and you live a lie, right? Now you're still isolated and separated from society, and
without
so
knowing who you are, which is
Without
scary,
knowing who
because
you
now
are.
that's scary to be at a certain age in your life and not be and ask, who am I?
Yes.
An identity crisis later in life, that's got to be scary,
For
especially
sure.
with all those years of practice of running away from yourself.
Man,
And then,
put some alcohol on it.
Amen, yeah.
Oh man.
And so is that part of midlife crisis? Is people coming to, whoa, who am I? Is that
What,
is
midlife
that-
crisis?
Middle-aged white men. I mean, when we think of
Hey,
the midlife
hey,
crisis,
hey.
John.
I don't have
Oh,
an-
you an old white
I don't
man.
I don't, I
You're
don't have an
fine.
18-year-old in a Corvette.
You an old white man. It's okay.
Trophy wife.
Yeah, trophy wife behind
I see
me.
her.
Blonde trophy wife behind me.
Uh,
Yeah, she wouldn't let you take yourself out. She'd kick your ass.
She would
She'd
kill
wake
me.
you back
She'd
up.
kill me. Yeah. But
Just to say, do it
and just
again.
just getting on that real quick and getting off that. I know you opened up about your thing, about your attempt, and I'll let you know that back on the day I had a gun in my mouth.
Oh, honey.
I did, and there's nothing like the taste of a barrel. And that woman outside
Is the
probably
reason.
is probably the reason I'm still here today. It's tough, and
That's his
mine-
wife, for
and
everyone
mi-
listening.
And mine wasn't probably depression. It was more impulse and alcohol. So I see where Josh was coming from. I wasn't depressed at that time. I was.
But you
probably
had
ba-
PTSD.
I was battling a little bit. I was a little bit. Maybe it was just coming out then. But I really, I wasn't waking up in night sweats and feeling those feelings like, later on in life. This was more of a impulsive, like LT was saying, screw life. I'm out.
Yeah.
But if you had PTSD and the symptoms came out later, maybe that was literally the chip to break open all of that stuff to
Right.
come out.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's many different ways it could have been. And listen, we're gonna have to wrap it up because we're gonna have to have this talk again. We're gonna have to have a part 2 on this.
Yeah,
You
Thank
know,
I
you guys.
completely agree.
Thank y'all for doing it.
Final thoughts, LT,
Just
before we go.
you guys, that's it. You guys are doing exactly what's necessary. You talk about it.
Well, LT's
yeah.
going to be on later, right, for our as a comic. So maybe we could get her to give us some signs
Awesome.
and kind of a little bit more of a wrap up.
I'm a comic.
I'm a comic.
Jamie, any last thoughts?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, thank you guys for having me on, and I think this is a very important topic. If you're out there and you know anybody if you're struggling, obviously, please open up, be brave enough. But if you too have ever noticed a friend even that has made a joke, that phone call might help. Just by, hey, what's going on? Let's have lunch. I think a lot of times it's unfortunate to say this. Sometimes in retrospect, you always regret what you didn't do. But man, it sometimes though it does take a little extra just selflessness to it just for the chance of preventing something that might not even be what is really going on. But you just never know.
You never know, and you could have prevented
say
something.
something.
Yeah.
See something, say something.
Say something. Man, why not? Even if
Approach
even
him.
if you look
Approach
like an
him.
idiot, it's
Right.
It's worth one's life.
Right. You'll never know if you changed it, but you'll know. But you're with that.
I don't think you can ever be too compassionate. You know what I mean?
True.
That's not something that we can.
Well, guys, this
Overdose.
was a powerful topic, man, and it's something that we got to keep going on with. And Latanya, thank you so much. She is on Fridays between 5 and 7 on Mental Speak. Listen to her. She continuously has these forums and topics, so listen to her. Jamie Gravy's making great strides in the comedy field.
He's a big boy.
He's a big boy now. Check him out. Check out. He is on our webpage at madradioshow.com. Check it out. He is on there. He's one of the comics. You can get in contact with him for bookings and appearances. So, hey, guys, thanks again, man. I appreciate it. And Mad Radio will be back with you with the Omega Gamma Delta people, Heroes, Cops, and Kids, and Savannah Solis from Tyler, Texas, right after these messages.
It is like perfectly too. Like
That was good.
Straight from the Heart, which you can listen to every Monday evening, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Central Standard Time in the Red Bowl. Well, now, every Saturday afternoon from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Central Standard Time in the Gray Bowl, Straight from the Heart will present real people, real testimonies. We all have a story, which means we all have a testimony. So tune in and be prepared to be blessed.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Groovy Gary, and I'm just letting you know you made an awesome choice by tuning in to Fishbowl Radio Network on FBRN.US. Keep it locked right here. Fishbowl Radio Network, FBRN.US.
Candy Yam's Kitchen, food you can feel. You can experience Southern and Creole classics from down-home gumbo, upscale shrimp and grits, and mouth-watering desserts. From specialty pound cakes, pies, decadent peach cobbler, and an unforgettable banana pudding. Whether large or small, Candy Yam's Kitchen has everything to give your event a taste your guests will remember. Savory Southern cuisine, bold New Orleans flavors, united with an all-star presentation. You can be assured that you will be the talk of the town at the booking them for your next party. You can reach us at 469-450-0027 or follow our journey on Facebook and Instagram at Candy Yam's Kitchen. That's KANDIYAMZ Kitchen. Again, give us a call at 469-450-0027 or like our Facebook and Instagram page at Candy Yam's Kitchen, spelled KANDIYAMZ Kitchen. Candy Yam's Kitchen, food you can feel.
Congratulations from Velvet Oasis Events, wedding and event planning. What a great time for us to get acquainted and determine what style, design, and package will work for your upcoming wedding, gala, social, or anniversary event. We specialize in helping people have a better event experience. Velvet Oasis Events customize your event design with your vision in mind. From beginning to end, we're there to assist. So for that wow experience you won't forget, remember Velvet Oasis Events. To get more details, go to velvetoasisevent.com, velvetoasisevent.com, or call 817-500-1579, 817-500-1579.
Introducing the Ferrero Rocher cupcakes loaded with luscious layers of sweet goodness, coated over dark chocolate cake, made with the freshest and finest ingredients to make you say, holy cupcake. Voted top 3 cupcakes in the DFW area. Wondering where you can get these sweet chocolatey goodies? Where else but Le Cupcake and Treats? Call us now, 682-999-8276. That's
Check.
682-999-8276. Or visit us on our Facebook and Instagram at Lake Cupcake and Treat, where we make life sweeter.
Fish bowl. Fish bowl. Jump in.
Guess who just got back today? Them wild-eyed boys that had been away haven't changed that much.
Hey, welcome back to Mad Radio with John and Megan and Making a Difference Wednesday. Whew, that was pretty exciting, don't you think? Whoop, we got to
Keep going.
I'm going. Keep going. Where are you going? Hey, like I said, it's been a crazy day. We got a lot of people. We're covering a lot of different topics in the studio today, and I'm glad everybody's here. I want to welcome the Omega Gamma Delta fraternity, the Dallas chapter. How you guys doing? Beautiful from New York. I want to welcome John, president of the Dallas chapter, Johnny Walsh, and Danny. Danny, you want to come up, take a seat until just come on up, get close to that mic. Danny Gannon. Thank you. Guys, thank you so much for coming in here. And for those of you that don't know too much about the Omega Gamma Delta fraternity, let me give you a little background history. The fraternity was started back in 1902 at a boys' high school in Brooklyn. Man, that's a long time ago. The fraternity's got some very prestigious memberships throughout the years, like Vince Lombardi, Nicholas John Bollettieri. He was a world-famous tennis coach credited with developing many world-class champions, such as Monica Seles and Venus and Serena Williams. Not really great on names. You got John Terrans, an All-American lacrosse player, an Ivy League player for the U.S. Olympic team. Aaron Copland, a major American composer, won the Pulitzer Prize for music, won an Academy Award for Presidential Medal of Freedom. Man, throughout these years, you've had so many members. Just here in Dallas, we have Darwin Deason, who's a leader in the business industry. Larry North, an entrepreneur who has opened up gyms all across Dallas. We have just in our chapter alone, we got Tommy Riley, a lead homicide detective for Dallas. He's been featured many times on the First 48. God, I can go on and on how many people the Omega Gamma Delta fraternity has throughout the years.
Joey Morrow.
Joey Morrow.
And it's for sure Omega.
Yeah, Omega.
For sure.
Yeah,
Omega.
we've had this little conversation. It's Omega.
No, see?
Danny, you gonna prove him wrong and say Omega?
Proper pronunciation is Omega.
Thank you.
Wow.
I enjoy him. I've
Get
been
closer to the
arguing
mic.
with him for 3. Yeah, get real close to him. No.
Nice having you on the show.
I've been giving him the biggest crap for that because I'm like, that is not how you say Omega.
Omega.
It's the Omega and the Alpha people.
I was conditioned to say it Omega, not Omega. You know. Hey, some of the wonderful things that Omega
there you go
does around Dallas. Maybe Megan, you want to share some of those?
Yeah,
things
of
with us?
course. They've supported these over the years. Stand for Honor, Laughter Saves Lives, the comedy shows, Christmas in the Park, Dallas Homeless Food Drive, Carry the Load, Epilepsy Foundation for Texas Basketball Camp, raising money for those U.S. Marine Devin Jones. That story was on 60 Minutes. Nice, good coverage. Yeah. And American Diabetes Association, and also supporting the Dallas Police.
Yeah.
So is this a Dallas-only fraternity? No.
No, it's not. John, maybe.
Chapters in New York, Florida. Right now, with the men's chapter, we have about 9 chapters right now. But like you said, started in 1902 high schools, and we have all over the East Coast, especially New York, New Jersey. But
not that these two people have accents that would.
John, how long ago did you get in?
Well, I got in a cold night, October 17th.
I'm going to shut your mic off. I'm going to shut your mic off.
1970. What? These people are best friends for everyone listening.
Danny.
John invited his best friend on.
Danny, when did you get into the fraternity?
February 1968.
68. Seen a lot of changes,
Dang.
correct?
When did you get in?
I got in. I'm only in 2 years. I'm a newbie.
You're a baby.
Man. I'm a newbie. John, you started the Dallas chapter, correct?
Yeah, we started in June 21st, 2004.
With how many members?
14.
Yeah, there was 4 of us. It was Danny Gannon, Frankie Dixon, Joey Morrow, Larry North, and myself. I told Joey I'd say his name 5 times.
Oh, okay. And well, you turned into Beetlejuice. And what's the membership in the Dallas chapter now?
Right now we have close to 25 members.
You got 25 membership.
Yes, sir.
All right. John, as a president of the Dallas chapter, you have seen progress over the years. Where do you see this chapter going in the next few years?
Well, I see us getting much larger, more membership, more gentlemen getting in. And like I said, we're into doing charity events and making money for other organizations. And the more we build, the more members we have, the more we can do.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great community-based organization that's out there helping all charities. They're not a 501c3. They're not a non-for-profit, but they are willing to help out any non-for-profit that's out there. Now, like I said, we have chapters in Florida. We have chapters in New York. We have chapters here, and they continue to build. And this fraternity has been going on since 1902. Since 1968, Danny, what have you seen? How have you seen the progression in just the way the fraternity is run?
A lot of things have changed simply because when it was first started, it was people in high schools.
Right, kind of like a gang, right?
Well, no.
Well, not a gang,
not
but
back in 1902. The objective was to guide younger students.
Mentoring?
Yes, and try to help them along and give them some direction. And over the years, it did progress that way. And there was a time where it unfortunately was perceived as a gang.
Well, back in the 60s, 70s, when you start wearing colors, no matter what they're for, they're going to perceve you in a different light.
The wrong way. And even back then, we did charity work. We marched in parades and tried to help. And when it reached a certain point where the principals were saying, we don't want any type of clubs or anything like that in our schools where people are wearing colors.
Right.
So they stopped them. So the people who in the past that were part of the organization formed an alumni, and that was how we kind of just stayed all together. And then the thought came up, let's make it men.
Right.
Because we are men now, and let's try to act like men and help people. So that's the image we wish to project, because that's what we're really all about.
You try to teach moral values, try to teach family values, and bring a sense of pride within a person, right?
And especially with everything that's going on.
Right now.
Right.
First 2 chapters were Alpha Beta and then Delta Beta. Alpha Beta being in Florida with Godfather Mike Famar. He has that chapter. And I have this one. And then me and him were the first 2. And now we got, 7 more.
Yeah,
and more to come.
3 chapters in Florida.
That sounded very Godfatherish.
There's 3 chapters in New York. We have 1 here. And there's a men's chapter in New Jersey. And there is still 1 existing school chapter in high school in New Jersey.
In New Jersey.
I like that.
Now, most of the guys from here came out of West Hempstead, correct? West Hempstead, Long Island?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, was that a nucleus school for Omega back on Long Island, or did Omega, or did other schools have chapters as well?
There were dozens and dozens of chapters. We like to believe we were a nucleus, but in reality, we weren't.
Are you guys the oldest fraternity, like the oldest fraternity members? Because I mean, I guess I don't know. I went to college, but I didn't join a sorority because But do those people who join fraternities in college then continue to be members forever?
Well, yeah. Well, it's you try to be it's a brotherhood.
Understood.
It's a brotherhood. It's like anything else.
So like
And
the skulls and all those, secret ones in Yale, they're still
they're
members.
still, yeah.
Like George W. is
Yeah,
still a
we
member.
cut the heads, chickens off heads and
I
stuff.
bet you there's like hand signals I need to learn. Tape down my boobs. I'm in. Sorry. Do you? I'm okay with that.
No. The fraternity has grown. I've seen it on the Dallas side in just a few years that I've been in, and this, as coming from a cop,
yeah,
and we do have a lot
and
of
that's a fraternity in itself,
right? It's a brotherhood, and this is the same thing. It's just helping out your fellow man and being there if they need you, and being there for their family, and being there for community support and doing what you can. And like any other fraternity, you just want to build on high morals and values and everything else.
I just realized,
which I don't have any of.
This is why people always ask you to speak instead of me, because your resume looks so much more like, humanitarian than mine. I mean, what are you going to put on mine? Mom, comedian, she sells some stuff. Like, that's it. That's literally, I've helped nonprofits,
so
kinda.
You have like
you're
boom,
boom, boom, boom. It's almost like you're gonna run for politics someday. Like I feel like you're really padding that whole background. Just saying.
But you know what? If I ran for politics, you know what side I'm going on.
I know. I wouldn't vote for you. I'm so sorry. Like I know him, but I don't agree with anything.
Like I told you, just knowing you and doing things with you, now I know I might have a chance going to heaven someday.
No.
Just by being near him, you get to go to heaven.
See,
I didn't realize that.
You don't notice that little glow I have around me. See, everybody wants to be around me. I think we're still waiting on a few other Omega members. Frankie Dixon is coming in, right? And is Savannah here yet?
No.
No, Savannah's probably got stuck in a little traffic. Joey's.
From now on, we tell everybody to get here at 5. Just saying.
Joey Morrow wants to come tonight. Unfortunately, his son is in the hospital for the last few weeks battling an illness, and he is on the up mend. So our thoughts and prayers go out to Joey.
Amen.
And hopefully he'll be out there and be out of the hospital in a week or so, and he'll be back. And
our lovely other who wanted to witness our exchange tonight is right behind you. But she didn't want to be. She didn't want to be on the air.
She didn't want to be on the air.
I asked her. She didn't want to.
Well, if you could sneak through the window, we do have some very. We have a representative here from Operation Blue Shield that will be on the air next week discussing what they do here in Texas.
Yes.
That's going to be exciting. We're also going to have the Volunteers of America Texas here. And I'm sorry that Savannah was coming here from Tyler, and I'm sure they got to.
Oh my gosh.
I hope it's all.
I know her mom
good.
was literally. She said she was counting down the hours. She was super excited. I know she's on her way. Whether or not we get to air it on the air or just record it on our phones and then re-air it next week. That's what we'll make do, guys.
Well, we still got plenty of time, and I want to hear more about the Omega. Who else? Omega. Who else is outside?
That's it. And then I promised we were going to have a comic LT to come back, right, and do a little bit of comedy at the end of the show.
Oh, sure. Okay, yeah, we can do that. She had to go put some stuff in her koozie.
Oh, that's right.
So,
I don't know if you guys saw this, but Omega went ahead and gave us all koozies, and they're really cool looking. I know I'm a woman and I can't join, but I still feel like I'm almost a member.
You're almost a member. but you don't drink, so you can put like.
I put a water bottle in there.
Put a water bottle in there.
I can't drink. I tried so hard. I told you I had that whole convention this week where I had to like schmooze people and sell my LED lights. You can contact Triangle Signs and Lighting. Anyway, and I went out and took one of my customers out for a drink, had a glass of wine, and I woke up from one glass of wine with a hangover. Now, when I drank with you guys at Sylvie's, I didn't. So it must have been something versus the cheap wine. Versus the expensive wine. I guess I can only drink cheap, baby.
It was a presence of being around me and Tara.
Oh, that too.
Right. Back on to Omega.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sounds like I'm talking about a friggin' vitamin.
It is how you.
Omega-3.
It's Latin.
Huh?
Take some damn Latin classes.
I ain't taking Latin. I didn't even take friggin' math classes. You can visit their website at Omega Gamma Delta Fraternity. It has loads of information on that website. I tried to scroll through some of the prominent and prestigious membership that has been here since 1902, and I couldn't even count how many people have been part of this organization, that are still part of this organization, that have made such an impact on every aspect, from athletics to military to business to every community-based organization you can think of. Omega has had a member, and a driving force of them.
Like you said, we have a lot of first responders.
Right. Right now we're picking,
Fire department.
because they're feeling this is more and more of a brotherhood, and they're feeling that they do get that sense of taking care of each other. You know.
Well, once you're a brother, always a brother.
Very true. Very true.
Like our motto is forever ready to be able to help a brother.
Forever ready to be able to help a brother.
Well,
That's a very long motto.
it's not as long as the FBI's motto.
I'm just thinking the Marine Corps motto.
The Marine Corps motto. Well, we do have a lot of military.
Simplify, man.
Yeah. See?
That one's little.
Yeah.
And it's Latin.
How do you know that? Did you date a Marine?
I did.
See, that's the only reason you did. Probably made you scream that out, right?
No, I actually thought about joining the Marine Corps back in the day.
Well, you got the hair for it.
I do. Thank you so much.
You know you weren't getting through this radio broadcast without me making.
I'm fine. And bring it.
I'm only kidding. Your hair looks fine. It looks fine. No, but we do have a lot of military and first responders within the fraternity across the country, because it gives them a sense of brotherhood. Like when I went 2 weeks ago to see Joey Morrow's son in the hospital, and like 15 of the brothers showed up just to bring a smile on this kid's face and give him up, because he's been in the hospital for about 3 or 4. No, he was in for about 4 weeks prior to me even showing up.
That sounds terrible, though. I don't know if you've ever been in a hospital for, even just 2 days to have a kid is too much.
Yeah, and he's only 12 years old. And
Frankie Dixon's in the house now.
Oh, okay. He's only 12 years old, and he had to be going stir crazy.
Oh yeah. I hope he's got like a game, like some sort of gaming device that you could play with.
I don't want to get too much into it, but for what he's in there for, they are not allowing him to play games. But he'll be out in the next week or two. He is really doing great. So we'll keep our press. Just joining us in the studio, better late than never, is
it's traffic, I'm sure.
Is the sergeant of arms for the Omega Gamma Delta
Omega
chapter, Frankie Dixon, man. Welcome, Frankie.
You got to get real close to the mic.
Mike, pick that up.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, John, for having me here.
Hey, did you bring your son?
I did.
Is he
outside.
here? Is
yes,
he here?
He is.
Listen, he just came back from the Navy.
Yes, he did.
Oh man, bring him in. Let's honor him. Let's really honor him the way an Omega brother should be on.
Always.
He almost punched me, everybody. I know Facebook saw it.
No, there was a fly. Well, Frankie,
he might know
tell us a little bit about you and how you got involved in the fraternity.
Actually, I grew up with most of these guys, and we're all from West Hempstead, Long Island.
Oh,
and
right. All these accents.
We're all growing since we were kids. Danny's older than me, but I knew him when I was a kid. And John, we met when we were in 6th, 7th grade.
No, I moved.
Your wife is an amazing hostess.
She is.
13. But we knew each other very well. And
did John always have that bad hairdo?
No, he's got great hair. Still has great hair.
There's so much New Yorkness in this room. It's beautiful.
It's overpowering. But I have to be honest, I was always enamored with the group. I was young and impressionable as well, but a lot of the guys before me, including my brother's age, they stuck with me because I got to see firsthand what they were doing, how they reenacted, and how they stayed together and did their thing. And I was really always appreciative. All my friends were involved. The only tough part for me was, like I said, I had parents that were a little different than others. I wasn't allowed to get out there and do certain things.
You're kind of sheltered child?
Yeah, it was one of those things. My brothers were 2 idiots.
So they
wanted one guy that had to stay on the straight and narrow.
They wanted you to take a good path, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, and you have, and just meeting you. How long have you been in the Omega?
Now, since we started the Dallas chapter, I'd say about almost
2014.
Yeah, 2014.
So you've been in since 3 years. And since I've known you,
Yes.
And I've met your kids. I met some of you. I haven't met the one that you have here today. And I'm David.
Thank you for your service.
And I'm really honored to meet him today. But you have done such an your parents did the right thing there, because you have instilled what your parents have instilled in you on your kids, because your kids are such well-mannered, up-and-coming, man, just great kids.
I'm truly blessed, I have to say, both my children.
You've also done a good job.
You've done a great job. So let's introduce your son.
Absolutely.
Bring him close to you. And
You got to get close to the mic for us to hear you.
hey, how are you? You're a Navy cadet? You're a Navy SEAL? Navy pilot? What?
I'm just an airman right now.
You're an airman. How long have you been in the service?
About 2 years.
2 years, man. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for your service. Welcome, man. Where have you been stationed?
Just Virginia Beach for now.
Oh,
So,
nice,
there for the next
sweet.
2 years.
Lucked out.
So the girl that we just had on here, the licensed social worker with Tanya's, she did
A Navy vet of 14 years.
She's a 14-year Navy vet. How do you like it so far? Are you gonna
I love it.
make a career out of it?
We'll see what happens. Yeah.
What-
I got 2 more years and decide whether or not I want to re-enlist. So
Are you
we'll see what happens.
looking to do anything in the Navy specifically, like engineering? What kind of program?
Well, you said you're a pilot?
No.
No, I just said he was a
Air
pilot.
Force.
No, I'm just an aviation ordnance right now. So I work on F-18s right now. So.
Wow. You know what? That's funny. That's what LT did. She was working on the fighter jets.
Yeah.
On the flight deck. Have you been on a ship yet, or?
No, right now I'm on the shore.
Okay.
So we just do like land-based stuff.
Land-based stuff?
Fun.
Man, Dad must be so happy to have you home right now.
Yeah, you
How long does he have you for?
just a couple days and then we fly back.
So you're
Yeah.
borrowing as much money as you can, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That, you know.
You know how much they pay me, Dad. Nada.
Yeah. Dad, can I borrow this? Can I borrow? You know. Man. So Frank, you got one kid that went off to California, right? For business. You got this one in the Navy, making you so proud.
Yeah, it's been an unbelievable ride. You know, you watch it happen, and you see when they take it from that one step and become grown-ups, it just changes everything. And it's seeing, you know, the world is a little topsy-turvy right now, but it's always real nice to see that, especially my kids, adhere to the old rules. They started out working early. They started out doing everything early, and it just shows how they are right now. Everything is about the future. You know, they think about what's going to be happening next, what they're going to do, how they're going to get their next home. But they're not
Right.
the party every day, not the everything else. They're thinking about what they're going to do business-wise.
Now, let me ask some. Growing up around the people you grew up around, the Omega guys.
Yes.
Do you feel that helped you instill better values in your kids?
I believe a lot of it is, like I said before, these people I looked up to. There was no doubt in my mind. I see pictures now, and I look at people from where we were back then to where we are now. I'm still thrilled to death that I get to meet these people. When I go home, like during the summers, we go back for a reunion. It's the biggest deal for me in the world.
You got the reunion coming up in July at Eisenhower Park. Not at Eisenhower Park, right?
Yes, sir.
Over in East Meadow.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Very excited. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, we usually have about 200-300 guys there.
From all over, from
Yeah,
Florida, and
every
every chapter shows up.
Every age group and all that. As a matter of fact, this year my son is the first responder EMS in Florida, Johnny Walsh. He's got in this year and told me.
He's following in Dad's footsteps. That's amazing. Well, that's good, man. I mean, you know, that's what brings us to the next level in every chapter, because, like Danny was saying, you know, it started off in 1902 a little differently. It starts going through the 60s, 70s, and 80s. It changed a little bit, and now it will change a little bit differently, and it will keep growing. It will keep progressing for better. Just looking at that. The Stand of Honor, Laughter Saves Lives, Christmas in the Park with Darwin Deason, Dallas Homeless Food Drive. These are things that your group is doing for the community. You're making a difference.
And we got more coming up.
And we got more coming up.
Yeah. We want to reach out to other charities to see if they need our help. And we're willing. We're there.
You hear that, charities? Because this is a group of men that, you know, when you're always looking for those extra hands to move tables and chairs and set up and break down, These are
Heroes for Hope.
Heroes for Hope.
We're just looking for that. They were just talking about
Exactly.
that.
They were looking for that. They were saying we need
It's
people
the hardest thing
to
for
help.
them.
We still.
Nada.
Oh well. Man. So.
Live radio, it is what it is.
Yeah. No. Hey, it's traffic. We can't do anything with traffic, right?
I can sing.
No, thank you.
No, because we're about to turn your mic off anyway.
I politely said no, though. I mean, it was polite.
I do want to give Studio 80 in Fort Worth a nice plug.
Thank you, John.
Okay. Studio 80, because I am such a big 80s fan. It is such a. Tell us about Studio 80. Yeah, and how long you've been there, Frankie, and the events that you guys hold. It's an amazing place.
It's a fantastic 80s nightclub. We opened up on University Drive down in Fort Worth, right off of West 7th in about 5-6 years ago now. Both the owner and I are both from Long Island as well. We're both New Yorkers again. But he had this idea, he had a vision, and people laughed at it at first, thinking it was a big deal. And then all of a sudden, we transferred ourselves to a bigger location. Now we're in downtown on Sundance Square in a 14,000 square foot building.
Wow.
So now we have an upstairs, a side area, and a big area, and we hold anywhere between 8 to 1,300 people. And it's just a fantastic dance club. It's good for the age group that we are, 30 to 50-year-olds. I'm not saying you can't party with the kids, but every once in a while it's good to be with other adults.
Yeah.
It was fun. We were there for
Lap Saves Live event. And,
yeah,
I've been
really nice.
I've been there a few times after that, and just kicks you back to the 80s, which is it's a lot of fun, man. It's a lot of fun. So
I'm gonna have to come out with you.
Yeah, you definitely gotta come out.
LT and I would love to. I know.
Yeah, you got to come out, man. It's a lot of fun. You cannot not dance.
There you go.
Even if you suck at dancing, you're going out on that dance floor and you're dancing because you got to see the people that are on that dance floor. And I'm not saying I'm the greatest dancer, but it's a lot of fun to watch. People dress up in their 80s garb. They look like Richard Simmons out there, strutting their stuff. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, man.
Also, I'd like to.
No.
Also, I'd like to say that with both of you being such a big help as putting this out there, we also, like John said, we do a lot of charity stuff. And we do it for the police department, for the fire department. And one of my favorites is coming up again in April. I can get a date for John soon, but it's called Shine. And what we do is we take kids with special ed children and also people that are, what's the word I'm looking for?
Talk like you.
That's not fun. But anyway, challenged, mentally challenged.
Mentally challenged.
Yes. And what we do is we put them in the jobs that we are in our positions so the children get to do exactly what we do.
Kind of give them like leadership abilities.
Exactly.
Wow.
They have a red carpet that they come in on.
Yay!
Okay, go ahead, finish.
Go ahead. Yeah, finish. They have a red carpet that they come in on first, and then when they brought in, we put everybody in positions. We have bartenders, door hosts, floor guys, a GM, a manager, an owner, and everybody gets to play their part. Their parents dress them up in beautiful suits, and they walk around their bosses for a day.
We need to be there.
We would love to be a part of that, and take some coverage and take some pictures. That would be amazing.
I will set that up.
Oh man, that would be a lot of fun, and I think that's a great thing to do for these children because that gives them the pride. That gives them the pride, and it makes them feel helpful and wanted.
You wouldn't believe the smiles
Finally,
wonderful. We got some wonderful people coming into the,
Woman
the
of the
studio
hour.
today.
We understand completely. I told everybody, I was like, she was counting down. I know she wants to get here.
Yeah.
So come over here, Savannah, where we can hear you.
And coming into the studio now, we have Savannah Solis and her mom, Debbie.
Yes.
Yes. Is Scott here?
You guys are traveling from across the Metroplex, so come on. We understand completely.
Yeah, you guys.
You look like you've gotten older in just the 2 months.
Your
since
3-hour
you've been
drive.
Here. I feel like her mom. I'm like, you've gotten older. You're so beautiful.
Oh. Wow, Savannah, thank you so much. Thank you, Debbie.
Guys.
Thank you, Scott, and everybody else behind me for making that trip, man. You amaze me. You don't stop.
Thank you. More and more and more.
Is there anything Debbie, Scott, I mean, you guys got to be so proud, and I know I get chills every time I see you guys. Is there anything that you don't do? Tell me that, because I'm sure the list is a lot shorter on the things you don't do. Because every time I'm seeing you, you're making beautiful baskets. You're making little handwritten thank you notes. Man, you're excelling in school. You're visiting police departments. Where are you finding all this time?
That's what I was going to ask you. Are your grades bad? Is that what it is? You just throw off school and that's all you're doing.
No,
I bet you do. That's just like, do you sleep? Is that it? You don't sleep? Oh yeah, I'm sure she's a teenager. Her mom's saying she likes it.
Yep.
You gotta. They can't hear you.
Yep.
I like to watch movies, so she'll ask me, we'll sit and watch movies, and I'll help.
Oh, while you're doing
Yeah,
it.
but I take the candy on, so I tend to eat the candy.
You're okay.
Yeah. She just does it when she's, anytime she does extra time, she's hard.
It's amazing.
I saw a whole basket, about 150 little. Where did they go?
That went to the sheriff's office and the Tyler PD.
And Tyler.
Tyler PD.
Aw,
The local
the
ones.
local one.
Yeah. And then I saw you came and you visited Dallas and you visited Richardson. Okay, but like always, New York is your favorite PD, right? Yeah. NYPD is your favorite PD. I will fight any
No
police
pressure.
department out there.
There's a bajillion New Yorkers. I'm just letting you know, Savannah, before you answer.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Just pull that mic over, and John, just give Savannah your mic. All right. Because we can hear you, John. As soon as we're ready for the presentation, we'll get you. So, why we brought you here today, and like I said, you have been doing things since you were 10 years old, right? Since the murders of the 2 police officers in New York. Okay, and I thank you so much for being that part of that generation, and I love that part of your speech, how you say it's to change the perception of the way people think of law enforcement, and you're doing it. You really are. You're making great strides, and because of that, Blue Alert System in Florida got us involved with the Bike Before tour of the cops riding their bicycles from Miami to Orlando, which gives you a great opportunity to thank more police officers. Mm-hmm. So the Omega Gamma Delta fraternity, Omega, would like to present you with. Get John. Aww. Tell her right. Get close to the mic.
Speak
and tell
loud,
her
John, which it won't be hard.
To Savannah and family, Omega Gamma Delta fraternity is proud to present you round trip airfare to Orlando, Florida, so you can attend the 2018 Florida Bike Force Tour and continue your growth in saying thank you to law enforcement officers all around the world. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And for those listening, all of the Omega brothers have walked back in.
Yeah.
To say thank you to Savannah.
Savannah,
I have to say, when she found on the phone, everything was calm. She talked to you guys, and we hang up, and it was like utter scream.
She's like, I can keep a good professional persona.
Yes, and so
no one's around, and then I'm a teenager.
When John brought it up at our meeting and everything, and we were like, all right, well, how much money are we going to give? And all my other brothers were like, let's just pay for the whole thing instead of just giving some, my hat's off to all my brothers in Delta Beta. And I got to thank my brothers in Delta Gamma in New York. They sent money too. Tony Torcaso and the boys. And we love what you're doing. Thank you very much.
We shared your story and your website and what you're doing throughout our chapters. And grown men have been getting chills just knowing what you did. When Frankie, tell me if I'm wrong. When we decided, when it was approved for the round trip flight for her and her family, guys were almost bawling, right? These are grown men. They were so happy that everybody approved this, and we are able to do this for you. It's just I can't wait to see what you're going to do next week. I can't wait to see what you're going to do in 6 months. And one day, I want to be there when they pin that badge on you.
Oh, yes, please.
I do. And,
Definitely.
I'm not a young man anymore, but I would love to be able to be one of those young men that would be able to work under you as a police chief of any state, county, or municipality. You are going to bring a lot of changes to the police department. Frankie Dixon is a retired Fort Worth police officer as well. Yes. So me and him know that what you're doing has changed so much in so little. You've done more in 3 years than people have done in 20 years. Do you know that? It's crazy. We got a phone call?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Hi, you're on the air.
Yeah, this is Tom Berry from the Blue Alert Foundation.
Hey, Tom, how you doing?
All right, how you guys doing?
We're doing great.
Great. Thank you so much.
Let me just really quick introduce you, Tom. We got Tom Barry from the Blue Alert system over in Florida. For those of you who don't know what Blue Alert is, it's almost like an Amber Alert, but for police officers. It is now 28 states, Tom?
29.
29 states and growing. I think cell phone service will start giving alerts soon, probably next year, correct?
Yes, we're hoping by the end of this year. It'll be on your cell phone just like Amber Alerts.
That's awesome.
Fantastic.
That's so cool.
Tell us a little bit about the what we're sending Savannah and her family down for.
You are?
Yes.
Yes. You didn't know?
Oh, my goodness gracious. I better get ready for this one. I don't know. Tell her to make sure she got her winter coat and her long johns ready.
Tell us a little bit about this bike run, Tom.
This will be our 21st annual Florida Tour de Force that we go from North Miami to Daytona Beach. But this year, we changed it to go to Orlando because we lost 4 officers in Orlando last year. We lost 1 in the Orlando Police Department, 1 in the Orange County office of the sheriff, and 2 at Kissimmee Police Department. So we decided we were going to go there because they had a massive amount of officers killed, and also we want to commemorate all the first responders who went to the Pulse nightclub shooting.
Oh, right.
So it's just a big thing that we want to do. And then, we had a lot of officers killed in line of duty last year. We had 12 officers killed.
Just in the state
and
of Florida?
2 canines. So it's a total of 14 that we're honoring.
Just in the state of Florida?
Just the state of Florida.
Now, we are only going into April, Tom, and I don't want to put you on the spot on statistics, but how many officers throughout the country have been killed in the first 3 months?
I'm not sure they count because we had quite a few in the end of February and beginning of March. So I'm not sure the exact number. We just lost a local deputy last night here in Martin County, where I'm located. This was due to cancer, but he was fighting for his life and didn't quite make it. So we got a funeral we were getting ready for here locally Monday to honor him. We just got it classified as a line of duty.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
So it's it's when it's that local and the guy, which I did. It's difficult.
Well, Blue Alert's doing so much on your end by helping out the families of fallen officers, and Savannah's doing so much on her end, thanking so many officers for what they do. And I'm not going to bring you up because you're going to come in next week, unless you want me to introduce you.
But you did find out the answer because one of his lovely associates knew the answer.
In our studio today with us, we have Miss Tony Brinker from Operation Blue Shield, and she will be on next week with us discussing everything that Operation Blue Shield does for bringing the community together. And I don't want to give up too much because I do want you to listen next week. because it's really going to be a great show. But I think you came here to meet Savannah as well, right?
Yes.
Yes. So
Everyone's excited to meet Savannah.
Yeah.
She's like a little celebrity.
Now, as parents, Scott, where did he go? Oh, there he is. Scott and Debbie, as parents, I mean, all your kids. I mean, I watch them excel online. It's like I'm living. I wish my kids were like this. I'm like, oh my God, I did something so wrong, right?
You did. You really did.
So did you. Don't lie.
My kids are still young. I have 5 or 7 years to
No, you
turn
don't.
it around.
No, it's over. It's over. She started her stuff at 10 years old.
I know. Well, he just turned 12. I mean, I'm just a couple years late, right? I got some time.
You got to be so proud of your kids. So proud. They are. What kind and parents who give support, like you and Scott do. How do you guys find the time?
Well, honestly, when Savannah first started, she is naturally a quiet person, but she has a big heart, big ideas, big dreams, but she struggled in expressing that. So when she watched the news and she saw this, it was not a shock to us for her to make cards. She did it all the time for people. It was how much she gave up her second week of her Christmas break on her own. She started off with 100. We had cards everywhere, and while her brothers were out playing, she came inside. She was determined, and she said she wanted to go. I said, you want me to mail them to them? And she's like, no, I want to go.
I want you to drive me, Mom.
I'm like, are you gonna talk? And so when we saw her started talking, this was something we knew right then she was pretty passionate about.
Yes.
She's come a long way from writing that letter, becoming a speech, and then actually going to schools.
Yeah.
And it's come, I think, because she's a little bit more passionate about it. She's still quiet, but she's passionate about it. So.
Right. Now, I know you're going to schools and trying to change the perception of kids in high school or middle school.
She's done both.
In both.
In elementary, elementary, high
And
school.
what kind of reaction are you getting from the middle school opposed to the high school?
Well, I've never really thought of that, but they do they do tell me about how much they appreciate them now because they see how much they do for us and how much they sacrifice their lives for us every day. So they'll I challenge them to go to police officers and to thank them or to write a card and send it to them. And I've gotten, I don't know how many kids, like
100,000
yeah,
over the U.S.
Yeah, about 100,000 in the U.S. to take my challenge, and a couple
beautiful.
in other countries.
Really?
I think 4 or 5 different countries.
I have Take the Savannah Challenge.
Yes, so she spoke at a school.
I
in
love that you
London.
have your own challenge.
So we have
Better than Tide Pods.
Yeah, we have kids videos coming in from videos coming in from Germany and Iceland, Switzerland, London, Paris, of kids taking the Savannah, and in their language, that you hear Savannah Challenge, but in their language they're speaking up for law enforcement. And an officer told us we probably wouldn't get that in Europe. That's just not the culture there. And one of the first videos that we gave coming in was in Berlin, and then next thing you know, Iceland, and then London. And so
Wow.
I think that's when she realized, okay,
You're having an impact.
Making a little difference.
Yeah. What does that feel like? You're so young. Do you realize that, like, there's so many, most adults, including all of us in this room, I would have to say, probably don't have that kind of an impact our whole lives. Like, how does that make you feel? Do you grasp it?
It helps a lot. It makes me feel more, I don't know how to say this.
Gives you more of a passion to keep doing it? Just
Gives you more drive. More drive.
There was a little girl that wrote Savannah a letter that she used to be terrified of cops. And after Savannah spoke at her school, she wrote a letter. I think Savannah was 10, I can't remember. And she said, I used to be terrified, but after hearing you speak, I think coming from a kid to a kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Different.
That's why that's why it's catching on.
At the beginning, when I started to get all the kids, it motivated me to do more of the Savannah Challenge to get more kids, because I know if I go to like high schools, middle schools, elementary schools, I can get a lot of kids to thank officers.
Yeah.
You need your own little like tour bus and assistance.
Yes.
Because
we need to go viral. That
Wow.
stupid ice bucket challenge went viral.
Scott calls himself the taxi taxi driver.
The taxi
We
driver.
drive all over this thing. From 20 states now.
Have you gotten any negative feedback from students that you were able
The
to
New
not-
Yorker goes negative.
Oh, no, because I want to see how you were able to turn them. Have you had negative people come up to you and say, "Well, I don't like cops, and I'm not going to like cops"?
Well, I was actually on the bus on the way to school, and there were some kids that were just saying, "Oh, well, they don't do anything." I was like, they do a lot for us, and they obviously do not see that. And I really wish that they did.
Well, maybe one day they will, because sometimes young minds don't see everything, or they have the perception given it to them from TV or from their upbringing, or a bad experience.
Yeah.
One bad experience, because there are good and bad cops all over the world. Okay, one bad experience can change your perception on everybody. Okay.
Well, and it might just take like a personal
Right.
Something to happen for them to change their mind. But also, they might just be wanting to challenge you
Yeah.
because they know you personally. And forget those little people that are in your circle. I mean, if you're touching people in Berlin and, you're, yeah.
Well, you
You're making
visited.
more of
You
an
visited.
impact
You
than
were
they are.
visiting, right? You visited the Queen's Castle, or
Oh, that's
Yes,
right.
And I'll let Savannah tell you what she did. I told you she's quiet, and we went over there. I said, it's a different country. Respect their country. Say, just talk. So we
Right.
go in. We're at the palace. The Metropolitan Police come up in the courtyard, and so they would tell us the Queen's there, the flag's out. And so I said, "Oh, Savannah, what if you meet the Queen?" And I mean, not just saying it. She said it with a little attitude. She's like, she's not an officer. She's like, I wanted to hide, like right there.
I was being
so if the Queen of England came down those steps and said, "Savannah, I want to meet you," you'd say, "Show me your badge."
She was pretty focused, but of course she invited Savannah in the palace, so we got to see a few things. So.
Fantastic. So where do you see yourself in 5 years, Savannah?
Well, hopefully I can get more cards to more police officers, and hopefully my Savannah Challenge expands to more kids my age or anyone. So maybe I can make
50 states.
Yeah, I want to make 50 states so I can.
How many states have you made so far?
20.
20.
30 more to go.
30 more to go. I think you're going to hit that.
You're gonna hit
I
it.
think you're going to hit that.
Yeah.
I kind of should probably
Not even high school yet.
Hawaii.
Mom's like, "Listen, we really got to thank those Hawaii cops. Those cops in Hawaii.
They are
really did a lot of
braving volcanoes.
We might have to just mail cards unless we get 2 more jobs.
I don't know.
Hey,
I
John?
think a lot of people love you
Tom.
guys.
Yeah. Sorry, I apologize.
I got one other thing I need to say. I already talked to Debbie about this. We have an officer out of California that makes challenge coin trays for display for people who collect challenge coins. And we noticed Savannah has a lot of challenge coins. So he is going to give her a challenge coin tray to hold all of her challenge coins that she has. All we need her to do is give us a count, and we'll make extra space for more challenge coins.
Wow.
And he's going to donate that to her and actually send it to her in May.
Well,
Thank
Tom,
you.
I know how prestigious challenge coins are, right? How much they're honored throughout the police force and the military, right?
Correct.
Why can't we make up a Savannah challenge coin?
She can
We
hand them
can.
out to kids.
We can, right?
We can.
Yeah.
If we all can, if all of the fraternities and myself and anybody else that wants to, we can have somebody help design it. I deal directly with the company in China, so we get the best pricing instead of going through a third-party company in the States, because they tack on another 100% on top of that to make their money.
Okay, I don't want to hear about blah 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 blah. Let's just make that coin.
Do you know how
we'll
many
make
you
that
have?
coin.
Savannah's got to get back to you, Tom. She's got to
Yes.
count.
Yes, she's going to count, Tom. And listen, I want to see a Savannah challenge coin on the market pronto.
He doesn't have enough
We can
on
do
his plate.
pronto.
We can do
Every now.
pronto. We can do pronto because then Savannah could have those challenge coins fund her next 30 cities.
Oh, there you go. States.
Yes.
He meant states.
So,
States. 30 states.
so John, you have my contact information.
Yes, sir, I do.
Let's share it. Let's share it one day and let's put our heads together and figure it out how to design the front and the back of a coin for her.
Okay, let's do it. Let's get
I
on
think
this.
Savannah should get to pick a little bit of the design. She
Savannah,
seems
why don't
pretty
you-
artsy.
Oh, yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
You know what? Why don't you draw, Savannah? Why don't you draw something up, and we will make sure we get you a coin. We'll get that coin pressed for you. How's
That
that?
is.
How would that be? That'd be
She's
cool,
super
right?
stoked.
All right, let's
You know how
let's
many
do
kids
that.
would not be stoked because they don't understand the significance?
Well,
Savannah
when
gets it.
other kids start doing what Savannah's doing, maybe you'll get a coin too.
Yeah, but I'm saying.
All right, listen. I want to thank everybody for being in the studio with us today.
It's quite full.
God, huh?
It's quite full.
It was quite full, man. I know I want to after the show. I want to speak with everybody. Tom, I'm going to hang up on you now, and we will talk to you real soon.
Tom.
Thanks
Thank
a lot.
you so much,
and I
Tom.
hope your weather gets really good out there. We're gonna start wrapping up the show. Savannah, any last thoughts? Anything you want to say to everybody outside in the real world?
I challenge y'all to take the Savannah challenge and go thank officers.
That's correct. I
How
love
could
it.
how could they find out more about that?
You can go to my Facebook page, Help Savannah Say Thank You.
Oh.
Okay, and then
That's a good name.
I know, and that will tell them, that will bring them to your Savannah Challenge page, and it will give them all the details on how to do the challenge. Correct?
Right.
All right. Okay.
I love it.
Mom, what do you got to say?
First of all, I want to say thank you on behalf of my husband and I. I know we're very appreciative. I mean, this is something that we can't do. We try to do as much as we can, and we know it's big for her. So this opportunity that y'all are doing for Savannah and also Blue Alert is just, it's a blessing. I mean,
Yes.
I don't think thank you is enough. I really don't. That you give credit where credit's due. So I just want to thank you guys for everything. So.
Aww. So much love in the room. Beautiful.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Dad, you want to say anything?
Dad's saying thank you where you can't hear him.
The
Just again.
taxi driver saying thank you. I just
Yeah.
want to get back to Tyler.
Oh no, poor guy. You guys should take a break for a minute. This isn't long enough.
Johnny, Frankie, Danny, from the Omega Bunch, man.
Omega.
Omega. You're gonna get
He's
me in
gonna
trouble.
slap me.
I want to thank you guys for all your support with Savannah and all you do throughout the communities.
Amen.
Guys, brothers, I appreciate you forever, man.
Thank
Love
you
as
guys.
well. Thank you
Thank
guys
you
for
for
coming in.
being on.
Tony Brinker, thank you so much for coming down.
We can't wait to meet
we
you
cannot
more.
wait to talk to you after the show and for next week.
Exactly.
Because we want you to be part of the Mad family as well.
We love it.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you, everybody. And until next week.
Don't tune out. We got more.
Yeah.
We got some announcements.
We do have some announcements. And let me bring those up
Because
before
we just said thank you for 5 minutes. Sorry, go ahead.
thank you. We're doing what Savannah does. We're thanking
Thanking
everybody.
everybody.
All right, at the Arlington Improv this weekend, be sure to catch Clayton English, as seen on Last Comic Standing. He has opened for Dave Chappelle and Bill Burr. I just saw Bill Burr's routine, and I loved it. You ever see him?
Yeah, I know.
He's
yeah.
pretty good.
I watch him on Netflix.
Oh, well, I'm not really a Netflix guy, but has made has made Late Night with Seth Meyers and can be seen on Netflix series Love.
And
All right,
Zone.
visit improvarlington.com for tickets. Laugh Saves Lives Foundation will be at Gotham Comedy Club in New York on March 28th to support 4 different 9/11 charities, featuring the amazing lineup of comics: John LaRocchia, Tom Daddario, ABC's meteorologist Amy Freeze, Teddy Smith, Peaches Rodriguez, Pat Marone, and Caitlin Murphy. Hosted by New York firefighter Steve Levy. Visit laughtersaveslives.org. We have 2 great shows coming up. We have one on April 7th at Hoofs and Souls Foundation at the Witherspoon Ranch, located at 555 80 County Road, 277 in Kaufman, Texas. You'll be able to get more information on our website, and we'll also have a show coming up at the American Legion Hall in Haltom City to benefit our military veterans.
Yes. Next week, join Mad Radio as we have 2 amazing nonprofit organizations on: the Volunteers of America, Texas, discussing a program about at-risk youths, and then Operation Blue Shield, who we've heard from today, but we'll hear more from next week about how to build trust and unity in local neighborhoods. and the We're All In program, which sounds amazing. That has great success. Don't forget to please follow us on our Facebook Mad Radio page. You can actually watch us and see our beautiful / ugly mugs. We also have Instagram. We have Twitter. We need followers, and we know that you listen. And I will post if we have more than followers. I want to say we have 3 right now, maybe 4. Anyway, for all updated news, appearances, and events, check out our website at www.madradioshow.com. Together. Oh, wait a minute. Also, we are working on having podcasts that will be on other networks besides FBRN.us. But if you ever missed a show and you wanted to see what we were doing, check out our Mad Radio page on FBRN.us. We have all of our podcasts from our old shows on there for you to access. And we have a Patreon page because John and I support ourselves along with a couple of other sponsors, and we would love to have some more help because we want to make some T-shirts and some cool stuff for you guys. So check out Patreon page and look up Mad Radio.
Excellent. And until next week,
don't be a
schnozberry. Keep making a difference. Peace out.
Thank you, guys.